I am LMR class of 2013, the obligatory best class ever. But I am also a Leader Quest legacy. So my first introduction was in high school because my mother is class of 93. And so I learned from her how much she was learning about Richmond, and it was less for me about the connections, but more the impact that she was able to make through what the immersion groups looked like then, that it stayed on my radar. Now, I did not necessarily plan to come back to Richmond, but then when I ended up being back in Richmond, Leader Quest was always on my radar. And so I was really grateful to be a part of the class of 13. But my biggest takeaway from my class, and I share this because I got a lot out of it. Everyone has shared amazing things. Will, stealing your trick about the stickers. But at the beginning of our session, Haywood said something about think about walking away from these 10 months with a strategic plan of how you're going to engage in the region and in the community. It wasn't an assignment, it wasn't something we had to turn in, it wasn't required, but that just stuck with me. And so when I finished in 2013, I actually had a very clear map because I had a broad understanding of a lot of the things that we're facing the community, a lot of the things that we're facing the region. And it actually enabled me to hone in on what are the spaces that I care most about and where do I want to spend my time. And so that was really one of my biggest takeaways from Leader Quest. As Micah said, I do serve on the board. I am now the recruiting co-chair with Quan. I'm so excited to be co-chairing with Quan. Quan and I go way, way back to like high school. So it's really fun to do this together. And so I'm going to share just very quickly about kind of what you can expect in terms of the process and also some information about how we do scoring. So our applications will open on February 22nd. They will be available on the website. I know Patricia has been popping links in, so she will pop those links in and you will get an email. So we have your email information now. We'll send out an email to let you know the applications are open. They will remain open until April 26th at 11:59 p.m. Like, don't be that. Remember when like you were in school and you did the whole like, I'll turn it in at 11:58, 11:59. That's the deadline. So you'll have 2 months to complete them. You will be able to view the whole application online so that you can start to think about your answers, prepare your answers. You can log in, start the application, and you'll be able to return to it. But if you're kind of a processor like me, sometimes you just want to look at all the questions and you start to think about it before you sit down and do the application. Let's see what else. The selection committee, we have an awesome selection committee this year. We always have a great one every year. It's very diverse from classes, backgrounds, experiences, kind of everything that you can think of. And the committee really does sit down and we read every single application that comes through and we read them thoroughly because we really are trying to pull together a class that when we look at it on its whole, like you can learn from each other, you can grow with each other, and that you really take something away. So to that point, here's what we're looking for. We're always looking at your leadership quality and potential. That is your impact to the region, your understanding of what goes on in terms of community engagement and what that means. Your understanding of the region's key issues is another part of that. We also consider your community and civic involvement. And this is a point that I want to spend a little bit of time on because often we get asked the question about, well, I just got to Richmond, does that exclude me? It doesn't. So if you are a newcomer to the area, make sure you share with us in your application what your community engagement was in where you were before. So it's not so much what is your community engagement in Richmond, but what have you done in the communities where you've resided? How have you contributed to those communities? And then lastly, we're looking at diversity and inclusion. And I also want to make sure that that part is really clear. This is about the perspective and experience that you bring to the class. It may be that it's a group that's historically underrepresented in LMR. It could be that, but more likely it is going back to the statement I just made a few minutes ago around what do you bring to this class that is a perspective or an experience that your classmates will learn and grow from. We are looking to put together a class that can really grow together, that can learn together. It is a bit of a life-changing experience, and we want you to do that together. That also means that sometimes there will be some difficult conversations and some tough conversations, but that's how we grow. Making it easy doesn't that's not where the growth happens. That the challenges are where that happens. And so those are things that we look for when we are reviewing the application. We did not talk about notifications, but they typically come out around June. Decisions are usually communicated then. There are scholarships available. There are not a lot, but we do have scholarships available. They are a separate application. They have the same due dates. So February 22nd, they open, they close at 11:59 p.m. on April 26th, and you will see those on the website as well. So if you do need to apply for a scholarship, you will be able to do so. Just remember, it's a separate application. Did I miss anything?
James asked the question, and maybe you did answer this in some ways, but maybe to formulate it for James, what are the top 3 things you're looking for from applicants for the LMR program? If you could think of the top 3 things, what are those things?
Yeah, so it would be like your leadership potential, your community involvement and engagement, how you show up in the community, and then the unique perspectives that you bring in. The other thing that I would encourage you on your application is don't do what I call phone it in on the application. Really spend time thinking about the questions, being thoughtful and answering it. We can always tell when it's like, I'm just going to try to throw something out really quickly. And so we want to get a sense of who you are in the application. So James, since the question came from James, I'm going to use you, James. But James, I want to read your application and know, oh, this is who James is. Okay, like I've got a clear sense of it, even though we've never met. So that's what I would encourage you to do.